Okay, listen, I am just barely in the prologue, and there's a guy who's hunting a psychopath, who has a revolver, who is an allomancer, who uses steel pushing to push bullets away from him. Ooh, this is gonna be good. I have missed allomancy so much. I've missed it so much. Listen. Whoa. I'm not even done with the prologue yet, but I love Westerns. I love Westerns so much. I grew up watching them. I was in a Western. I won a Best Actor award at an international festival for a Western short film that I also wrote. Westerns are a part of who I am. And you're telling me that there's an allomancer Western who steel pushes bullets to make them go faster, who drink his steel that he drinks is in whiskey? This is the coolest thing I've ever heard. What? Also, he's a twin-born? This dude can do steel pushing, but also can do ferrochemy and, like, change his body weight because he has iron metal mines? Oh, and also, he said Ellendale. Oh. God, this is awesome! The prologue ends with Wax killing his girlfriend? What is this book? Alright, I'm on chapter 4, and we got a lot to talk about. So after the prologue, it's been 5 months that have passed, and Wax's name is Waxamillion Ladrian? Like Breeze? That's cool. Also, there's still mists in the world, but it's not every night. Interesting. They keep mentioning his guns. Is that do the guns have names, or is that the type of gun that it is? Wax also mentioned that the world was created by Harmony himself. And Harmony is the head. I just read this part. Harmony is the god that's worshipped by the Pathians, and the religion is called the Path. But it said that the Path religion was created from like 300 different religions, and the religion is about doing more good than harm, and they said part of the religion is not to worship Harmony. Harmony is Sazed, right? That's definitely who it is. They're talking about Sazed. And then he's got a cool earring. I love that. So he's got an earring, and then he like prays, and Harmony or God is like, yeah, just keep going, you got this. That's totally Sazed. That is totally Sazed, and I love that. I'm also loving the name callbacks. There's Set Mansion. There's Demu Promenade. What? Also, they have mist coats now, like duster coats. I'm going to be obsessed with this, guys. This is going to be a real problem for me, because... And using bullet casings instead of coins to shoot yourself up. And putting metal shavings in whiskey. That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. And now there are things called twinborns, which is mistborn, not even mistborns, just allomancers and ferrochemists. And Wax is a what was it called? Damn it. What was it called? Wax is a crasher, and a crasher is a coin shot who can push steel, but also is a ferrochemist who can change his body weight. That's so cool. I did love that Wax was like, most allomancers don't use whiskey in their metal vials, but most allomancers are missing out on a perfectly good opportunity. Like, this is my dude. And then he puts everything away, puts it into a box, like John Wick is like, this is the past me. I must become the noble that I am because my house is on fire. Interesting. And then there's like 6 months, 5 months, 6 months, I think, past that moment. And also, Wax is 42. That is very encouraging for this 33-year-old actor. Something cool I did notice was in the prologue, whenever he's described as Wax, but now that he's back home, he's referred to as Waxamillion. I see what you're doing there, Brandon Sanderson. I see what you're doing. And you guys were totally right about Wayne. Wayne is great. I also love that he's 10 years older than Wax. That is hilarious. And for the audiobook, he has an Australian accent. This dude's the best. This dude is me in 20 years. Just cannot take things seriously, but also takes things seriously and is like cracking joke. Okay, my last name is Balance. I am a massive fan. I think genetically inside me is a massive fan of puns. So the fact that in his introduction, he's making a suit pun, saying that, oh yes, he is suitable because, he's wearing a suit. And then it's like, is that cane mahogany? I love that he is also supposed to be back in Weathering, taking care of things, and he shows up here, and immediately is like, oh, there's company. Puts on a mustache and a fake voice. What is that? Aluminum. So, aluminum bullets, crazy, that's a thing. But also, was it always the case that aluminum was like the kryptonite of allomancy? Like, you can't push or pull on aluminum, and if you wear like an aluminum lined hat, you can't be soothed? Was that always a thing? And also, bend alloy? What is that? And Wayne can create like a time bubble? This is so cool. And Wayne is also a twin-born, so he can make a time bubble, but he also can heal himself, which is pewter, right? So he's like a ferrochemist that can burn pewter. Am I remembering that correctly? Also, remind me, burning any metal, does that make the blue lines appear? Like if you're burning any kind of metal, then you see the blue lines? Or is it only certain types of metal that makes it so that you can see the blue lines? And Steris is hilarious and awesome, and I think it is so funny that she's like, so here's what marriage is going to be. Also, I have planned out the conjugal visits for this amount of time until an heir is produced, and then here is where mistresses come in handy. Like, type A, Steris is hilarious. And also, the fact that she came in and was like, oh, I want to get to know you better. And Wax was like, I want to get to know you better. She's like, cool, I'm writing an autobiography. I'll just send it to you. They're like, oh, okay. The fact that zinc counselors are a thing. They're like, if you're going through something, there are counselors that burn zinc and they'll take care of you, give you some emotional aid. That's so funny. This kind of reminds me of like going from Avatar: The Last Airbender to The Legend of Korra, where Avatar, there was the different types of bending, right? But then in The Legend of Korra, bending is like MMA and like UFC tournaments, but then metal bending is like much more prominent because time has passed. It kind of reminds me of that a lot, which is pretty cool. Also, Wax's uncle and sister both died in the same accident? Interesting. And so allomancy is genetic, right? And so Wax is a descendant of Breeze, but Wax is a coin shot, and Breeze was a soother. So allomancy is genetic, but what type of allomancy is like totally random? Very interesting. I love that Wax's butler, Tiom, is like an in-house tea barista. I was like, all right, fill out these 15 different things that you want to feel, and I will make you the perfect cup of tea. This is no joking matter to me, sir. Allow me to do this for you. The fact that Wax would write out notes, and then Wayne would just show up and, like, draw stick figures on them. So funny. So funny. And then, the part I just read is Steris and Wax are about to go to a ball to kind of, like, formally introduce themselves as a couple. But she was talking about, like, who's invited, who isn't invited, what that means. But she mentioned a religion called Sliverism. And she said that it's like an abhorrent religion and terrible. And they revere Iron Eyes? Wasn't that Marsh's nickname? Is there a religion that worships Marsh? That's crazy. That is crazy. But oh my god, I am loving this book. It's so good. It's so good. Wayne showing up to the wedding party with a fake nose and a French accent is so funny to me. It kind of reminds me of what they did with Count Olaf in A Series of Unfortunate Events. Where he keeps showing up in different disguises. I love it. And the fact that twin-born are descendants of, like, terracemen is really cool. Especially because the Lord Ruler made it so, like, they couldn't reproduce and stuff. So it's just that I just like that detail. And again, this story is so funny. Like, the fact that Wayne put a bullet casing
with a note inside of it, inside of Wax's drink, is really funny. And the joke of like when Wax was talking about shooting the dog, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, no, I was aiming for his balls, but I got his tail." And then it came back later when he's like, "Did you really kill someone with a knife in the eye?" He goes, yeah, I did, but I was aiming for his balls too." Marcy. So when they first were talking about like, she knows more than she should and she's pretending to be shy, my first thought was, is she a Condra? But no, she's just a university student who's a fan of Wax and Wayne. But I will say, I really, really like Marcy a lot. I can already tell she's going to be one of my favorites. And there are people that are descendant from Kolos, and they have like gray skin. That's cool. And they mention the Lord Mistborn. That's Spook, right? That's Spook. Finding out that all of the hostages that have been taken are all like from the same bloodline. Very interesting. Also, this just keeps getting cooler and cooler. So like right before a fight, Wayne can like put up his little time bubble so they can be like, all right, we're doing this? Yeah, we're doing this. That is so cool. And Wayne is a blood maker? That's cool. I do like, how the religions have their own sort of like sayings and whatnot. The fact that the survivor, obviously Kelsier's religion, but they're kind of swearing like, whoa, by the survivor's scars. That's so crazy to me. It's also crazy to me that Wayne doesn't use guns and like doesn't know anything about guns. Whereas Wax is always walking around with like 6 different kinds of guns. This is great. And the constable like yelling at Wax, be like, you guys, and this is crazy, and I'm gonna have to file a report on this. And they're like, by the way, there were 31 casualties. And he's like, oh my god, 31 people, I'm gonna get fired for this. I'm like, oh, no. They killed 31 bad guys. He's like, oh, the 2 of you? And he's like, yeah, this is kind of what we do. I love this. So they're kidnapping women who are Allomancers to breed an army of Allomancers? That's a lot of forethought for just a band of thieves. I understand now what everyone says about Wayne. Wayne, guys, he's really quickly going up that list of favorite characters so far because he's fantastic. The scene where he goes into the jail cell to question the Vanisher, pretending to be a Vanisher, and he's just bluffing his way all the way through the entire thing, and gets the kid, hopefully, to leave the life of crime. He's like, dude, you're not cut out for this, just so you know. Get out of here, here's what we'll do. You're good. See ya. So good. And then they're hanging out back at the house, and Tiom is making his little tea thing, and Wayne just goes, the tea's poisoned. So good. Tiom betraying them. Crazy. How is he involved? Is he one of the Vanishers? Is he in charge of them? Or is he just a member? Because listen, King Iadon was in a cult, and then we found out, no, he's one of the leaders of the cult. So, well, but then Tiom, he did blow himself up. Maybe he's not a leader. But the fact that he's involved is pretty crazy. And the fact that he has served the Ladrian family for like decades, crazy. I do absolutely love the way that the magic is working now. The fact that Tiom, also, Wax has a steel button on his vest that he just has there just in case. So cool. And so anyway, the explosion happens, and Wax is like, boop, bubble. It's like, did you ever see Clock Stoppers? Some of you are not even old enough, but yeah, the idea that he pretty much just like, okay, we're gonna go slow-mo for a second, and they're arguing in the bubble as Wayne is like poisoned, and he's like, oh, this isn't good, so what are we gonna do? And Maurice's like, the explosion, it's getting bigger, and they're like, no, that's not gonna work, just push against the wall. He goes, we can't push against the wall. He goes, oh, I can make myself heavy. This book is awesome. I love that after the explosion happens, Wayne is just laying down. He's like, is it bad? And Wax is like, well, I mean, it's not good. And he goes, no, I mean my coat. He's like, oh man, I really like that coat. And the fact that he heals, but there's like a giant scab covering his whole back, and they're like, all right, we gotta rip it off. Ugh. So gross. And then they're talking about like what people are gonna think about the explosion, and Wayne was like, man, you know what, that explosion, they're gonna think we went to go see old Iron Eyes.
Is Wayne a practitioner of sliverism? An interesting reference there, pal. I love that they said the Lord Mistborn named Ellendale. Like, oh, spook. Ellend. Oh. And they're in the field of rebirth, and there's a statue of Elendil Vane. Oh, this is so cool. And also, Wax's name was Wax Dawnshot. That is a very cool name. And then Wayne immediately is like, hey, that should be me. I love taking shots of whiskey for breakfast. Same, Wayne, same. This book is great. the Wayne and Maurice going into the place, and Wayne disappears, and then this guy comes up, and Maurice's like, Wayne? It's like, he's dead. He was too handsome to be left alive. This is great. Wayne's backstory of why he doesn't touch guns. Oh man. What a great character. And he still sends half the money that he makes to the family, even though they write to him and say, we still hate you, by the way. He's like, yeah, that's okay, though. And he still doesn't know, after working all these years with Wax, he still doesn't know why Wax saved him? Man, this guy just keeps getting better and better and better. Oh. Also, Miles, their old dude that they worked with, that was also a lawman, is now in charge of the Vanishers, but he has a rich benefactor? The plot is thickening. Also. So, Miles, he, so it says he's twin-born, right? But he's double gold. Which also, why did I not think that was an option until just now? That your ferrochemy metal and your allomancy metal could be the same thing? Just never crossed my mind. But, this part has really kind of got me. So, double gold, right? It says, no, this is gold. Allomancers aren't particularly dangerous. So it's like, yeah, of course. But, listen, if it's called compounding when they're both the same. It says that's what makes Miles so powerful. If your allomancy and ferrochemy share... my god, I can't read. If your allomancy and ferrochemy share a metal, you can access its power tenfold. It's complicated. You store an attribute inside the metal and then burn it to release the power. It's called compounding. But this part right here, he says, by the legends, it's the way the sliver gained immortality. Listen, this is my first read through. I'm trying to pick up some shit, but I'm also, I'm just along for the ride. Sliverism, they mentioned before that Iron Eyes is the deity religion, the religious figure of Sliverism is Iron Eyes. Iron Eyes was Marsh's nickname. By the legends, it's the way the sliver gained immortality. What? I know the last time we saw Marsh was when, pretty much the world ended and he killed Elend, and, there was no sort of, where'd he go? What is this? What is this? So Maurice is an Allomancer too, but she's a pulsar. So she slows down time, whereas Wayne speeds up time. This is an interesting thing to add here, because she's like, oh, it's a useless power. Listen, Maurice, if there's one thing that I've realized in this world, very few things are useless. Very few things. I love that Wayne just, loves hats. It's, his thing. And he's, trades with the coachman. And he's like, can I have your hat? He goes, I'll throw in a pretzel. He's like, yeah, you can just have it. He's like, oh, sweet, I have a hat. He just keeps switching hats. It is cool that Maurice's, area of effect for her allomancy is much bigger than Wayne's. Again, I feel like this is laying some ground for some cool shit to happen soon. I am finding more and more ways in which I relate to Wayne, and the fact that he's yeah, you want a woman who can kind of throw you around a little bit. For anyone that's a Cowboy Bebop fan, there's a really famous Spike Spiegel line when he's like, I love a woman who could kick my ass. I was like, yeah. Again, strong women, they're the way to go. And then finding out that Wayne has a crush on Renette, and she shows up. First off, what an introduction to go to her house, and they hear her coming. They're like, up, don't stand in front of the door. Hold on. And she comes out with a shotgun, and Wayne is essentially just like, what a woman. What a woman. This guy's great. Oh man, the scene where Wax and Miles are fighting on top of the train, and it's like an Alamantic battle. It was like shooting left and right, and he like immediately shoots him in the face twice, and then starts shooting his hand. That's really smart, especially for someone who heals instantly. And then, hold on. Miles has like 30 gold mines pierced in his body? Yikes. That's more spikes than Marsh had. And this dude is like... Also, it's all gold. So, like, if this dude takes his shirt off, is he just walking around just, like, glistening? Does he just look like a cave full of, gold specks everywhere? Craziness. I'm also, like, how are they going to kill this guy? Like, I mean, granted, I thought that with the Lord Ruler as well. But this guy seems, like, worse. Seems a little worse. Even now knowing everything about the Lord Ruler that I know. This guy sounds way worse. Because he's like a fanatic, And he's like, you know what? The law has not been serving enough, so I'm going to serve justice with this fist and my gold and who can touch me. And the fact that he heals instantly is absolutely terrifying. Although, the idea, going back with them hiding behind the trees when Renette comes out, and Wayne is just like, oh, it's just full of birdshot. Like, it's not going to kill you. And, like, keep your eyes closed when that happens. And she shot him, like, 4 times, and he's like, yeah, I like this one. I like this one a lot. Dude, Wayne's the best. I love that. I think somebody else mentioned that in the worlds how, like, they have different, like, what's the word I'm looking for? They have different words for, like, swearing. I like that ruin is, like, a swear word, especially knowing Ruin, the previous, bad guy-ish person. Well, now he's AT, right? But anyway, the fact that Ruin is, like, a swear word, I like a lot now. But Renette, so Renette is the one who made Wax's guns, the Starions. And she made a new one, and there's, like, 8 rounds in the revolver, and 2 of them are, like, haze killer rounds. How does this keep getting cooler? It's like, every time something cool comes out, they're like, just wait, there's more. It's going to get even cooler. It's going to get even cooler. The fact that she is developing different types of rounds for different types of Alamancers. What? And then she gets the gun. They promise her. The fact that Wayne is like, hey, we got an aluminum gun here if you want it. And she's like, oh, I kind of do want that. And Wax is like, that's my gun. He goes, yeah, well, the ways of Wayne are mysterious and incomprehensible. What are you going to do? I do love that Renette is so good at her job at gunsmithing and doing this stuff that she gets the aluminum gun and, like, completely dismantles it and is like, yeah, I know who made this. He disappeared like a year ago. It's like, dude. And there's high imperial language, which is used for, like, special occasions and, like, old... It's, like, essentially Latin for us, It's like, oh, for big ceremonies that are really important, they use High Imperial. But it's just the street slang that Spook spoke in. I love this. I love where we're going. I love that the world is being built out. I have no clue how they're going to fight Miles. Because this dude has, in his mind, God on his side. He's got the justification for what he's doing. Ooh, her new gun is called Vindication after Vin. Come on. This is amazing. Okay, Miles jumping over the railing, falling down, and basically breaking his legs just to instantly heal them is such a cool way to show his powers and how they work. Like, that was really good. I also thought it was funny that they made it a point to say that Miles hates hats. Why you gotta dig on my boy Wayne? Just let the man enjoy hats. Also, gold. Burning gold. It works like the 11th metal. When Kelsier used it on the Lord Ruler right before, he saw 2 versions of him. Is that because gold does that? What am I misremembering? Or is it that if it's burned through ferrochemy versus allomancy? Are there different effects? Am I forgetting something? I am enjoying the little, will they, won't they, between Wax and Marisi. I'm enjoying that. I also like that, Wax talked about, like, he puts the earring in when it's time to, like, pray and stuff, but he also puts it in when he's going to do something really important. I like that. Wayne dressing up as an old woman is so perfect. It's so funny. And he's, like, talking as if he is the old woman. So when he sees, like, two, like, young boys, he's like, yes, they remind me of my grandkids. And then he gives them candy. I love that his accent, like, it drops for a second, and then he starts talking regularly, and then the guard is like, wait, hold on a second. And then Wayne's like, just kidding. And the fact that his bubble is essentially like a pop-up dressing room really quick, so he can just change out, that is fantastic. Ooh, and pretending to get shot publicly so that they can, like, push Wax into the cart and then lock it. Genius. The whole time I'm thinking, like, I feel like Kelsier would really like this plan. This is a good plan. The Vanishers having a barge with a crane arm that's, like, taking the train cars out and replacing them and stuff is very cool. But I wonder, how do they know when, like, the mists are going to roll in? Because they're using the mists as cover. But how do they know? Is there like a Ellendale meteorologist that's like, tonight the mists are coming, just so you know? And they're like, perfect. Tonight's the night. Interesting. And the fact that Miles immediately clocks that Wax is in the cart. He wasn't even there for the plan, and he's just like, Wax is in there. And like, really? He goes, yeah, really. Trust me. I know this guy. He's in the box. What are they going to do? What is he going to do? Here we go. Ha-ha! Sazed spoke! He's back! I love this! He's like, I gotta be careful when I'm playing favorites, but also, you're welcome. Oh, he's back! It's so good to hear his voice. Sazed. Oh, I missed him. Whoa. What? Marsh? What? Okay, so much has happened. There's going to be a full review video right after this one. But this last battle was like something out of an action movie. It was John Wick, Western level, cool stuff. The re-entrance, I guess, of Wax showing up in the mists, wearing his mist coat and double shotguns. That's so badass. And he's cocking the shotguns with allomancy. Brandon Sanderson, how do you come up with the coolest things I have ever heard? Like, it's such a small little detail, but it's one of those things where, like, if I was watching this in a movie and Wax shows up and he comes out of the mist and he's got his guns back and he's like, hey, let's do this. And then he doesn't touch the guns and you just see the hammers. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. It's so cool. And then the fact that Wax is straight up like, in Wanted, with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy, he's shooting bullets and curving bullets to go around. Like, what a great full circle moment to have the book open with Wax accidentally killing Lessie. And then he's put back in the exact same position at the end of the book. And this time he's like, okay, we got this. And he uses Wayne's time bubble to fix a trajectory to kill the people. What? I love that. I love Marisi's moment when she gets to use her powers for a use, because she's like, oh, what are you going to use it for? I'll tell you what you're going to use it for. You're going to use it to buy time for your buddies, and you're going to slow down time so that he gets surrounded by cops. Great. I love that when her bubble comes down and Miles is like, whoa, what happened? And then Wayne is in the back, like, oh, yes, there he is, with mustaches like the police chief. God, this book is great. I love that at the end. They're like, well, good job. I'm going to retire soon. Wax, clearly I was wrong. You can have my job. Also, we're not going to try your friend for impersonating an officer. It's like probably best because he's for sure gonna be doing that again. I like that. So I love the will they won't they with Wax and with Marisi, but a very bold move to not have it end that way. To have Wax basically be like, listen, I am way too broken for this, and you deserve better, and I guess I'm just going to go with my previous contract with Steris. Like, interesting move. I respect it. I respect that he didn't go with, the obvious kind of thing that everybody would be expecting from that. I like that Wax got his lucky hat back, even though it's got a bullet hole in it. Beggars can't be choosers. You gotta do what you gotta do, pal. I was very curious at first when it said that Miles was going to be killed by a firing squad. I'm like, how is that going to work? The dude just bullets, he just heals up. But I forgot that metal mines run out. So they just keep shooting him. It's like eventually. So that just means if there were more people shooting at him at the same time, they could have stopped him like a while ago. Assuming they had all hit him, of course. But 5 volleys is pretty crazy. And he mentioned the bearers of the gold and red. And he mentioned the final medal. Sounds pretty culty to me. Interesting. And then Marsh, craziness. You got that live reaction a second ago. Marsh being there, seeing the execution, nuts. And it was his uncle the whole time? His uncle's behind all of it? And he's like, you want to talk about a villain? That's something that I have enjoyed about the Cosmere journey so far, is like there's this big villain that you think is the big villain, but there's actually a bigger villain. Like anyone that's played D&D, you know that you've got the bad guy, and then you usually defeat him, and then there's the big bad evil guy. And you're like, oh shit, I thought it was that, it's much worse. And the fact that it's his uncle, and he's like, yeah, I've been alive this whole time. Also, your sister's fine. And he can't do anything about it. And he like knocks over his food, and he's like, I'm gonna stop you. He's like, yeah, you're not. But throw him out the back of the train. Cool. Like, dude, what is the plan here? What is he doing with the women? Where are they? Where did they go? I don't know. I don't know. I do love that Wayne at the end was like, was it your uncle? He's like, yeah. He goes, yeah, you owe me money. And he's making bad. He's like, I made a deal with you, but you weren't there, but you should have been there, so it still counts. Logic. Wayne does not care about logic, and I love that about him. And I did really enjoy Marsh talking to Marisi and being like, hey, give this to your buddy. She's like, why don't you just give it to him yourself? Because he's probably going to shoot me. But you know what? He does my brother's work, so I want him to succeed. I'm like, God, I love these books. Anyway, full review coming next. This was a ride. I'm just, come on. What was this? I loved every second of it. I think that's the fastest I've gone through a book. Anyway, full review up next. All right. Let's talk about it. This is one of my favorite books I have ever read. You guys have been here. This took like 3 days. That is insane. This book. Where do I even start? I loved everything about it. I love the characters. I love the setting. I love the callbacks to Era 1. I like how the different metals and the religions have all kind of progressed as it's gone on. I just love it. Like Wayne's amazing. Wax, also amazing. Marisi, also just like the villains, the reveals. Marsh is still walking around. Says it. Harmony says it. I love it. The fact that this wasn't planned by Brandon Sanderson is incredible and terrifying. How does that man's brain work this way? How does he just like, here, have an amazing book? What? I'm loving it. I'm so excited to see where this goes. And it was interesting because, so the previous books, the Sanderlanche, as I have come to know it, has usually been like a lot of things going on in different places at the same time. Whereas this was very kind of streamlined in the sense that, we followed Wax and Wayne, essentially, and had no idea what was going on outside of them. we didn't know where Steris was. The reveal of his uncle still being alive and being Mr. Suit in charge of all of this. And then he played Wax, and he's like, yeah, Miles was always going to die. It's all part of the plan, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just crazy. And the humor of it all, and God, I loved it. I loved it. And I devoured it so quickly. And I'm like, I am so glad that I read Secret History after Era 1, and I'm so glad that I'm reading Era 2 now. Because as you guys know in previous videos, I'm still like, wait, does that mean this? How does that go again? If I had read this later, or if I had read this between, like, Stormlight books, it would be a nightmare for me. But I mean, favorite moments, I mean, my God, the prologue. The prologue is one of the coolest openings to any story ever. It perfectly encapsulates who Wax is. It creates the world. It gives a great baseline for who Wax is going to be. Love it. I love Wayne. Wayne is... You guys are right. Everyone's like, Wayne is my favorite character in the whole Cosmere. I get it. I totally get it. I really like Wax. But Wayne is like this perfect, like, breath of fresh air and, like, levity in a world that's, like, incredibly difficult. I think back, like, the prologue obviously was like, holy shit. Loved that. I love that Wayne, puts on disguises and becomes other people. That is so funny. I love Marisi being this college student that knows about Wax and is like, she wants to be like him, and then she gets to meet him, and it's like, she becomes this, like, cool little sidekick to him, and I think that's great. I keep thinking back to the last fight in that warehouse with Miles and all his men, and Wayne just has two dueling canes, and he's just beating people and talking shit at the same time. This guy. Listen, I know I've mentioned in the past that, like, if they ever did, like, an animated thing or, like, a VO thing, I would love to play Elend. But I gotta tell you, I've been an actor professionally for, this year will be 11 years. I think Wayne has just been added to, like, a dream role. Because he's so nuanced. And, like, his backstory scene between him and Marisi, so beautifully written and so perfectly encapsulates his character. Where, like, his story is really sad, but he's not sad about it. I love characters like this. On a side note, I was in a Western called Blisters, and I was in another short film called Scoundrels, and Wayne reminds me of the two characters that I played in those things kind of meshed, and it was just really cool to see, like, the similarities between it. I was like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna file this away. But yeah, so I love the ending scene. I love everything that Wayne did. I love everything Wax did. I like that he's this kind of badass, but, like, I don't know. They're so layered and so nuanced. And this is the first book. We're just getting started. I have no idea what's coming, and I'm already so invested. I love this. Obviously, the moment when Sazed speaks to him, big highlight. The reveal with Marsh at the end. The fact that Marsh is at the execution and then he just leaves, and he was using emotional allomancy to get Marisi to follow him so that he can give her the book to give to Wax. There's so much going on. I liked this. So the thing about with Secret History and, the different worlds with Elantris and all that stuff, I've mentioned it before that, like, I kind of had a hard time coming to terms with the fact that the Mistborn Era 1, I cared so much about and I loved it so much. Then to just have it completely zoom out and be like, oh, this is such a small portion of what's going on. It kind of, like, I had a hard time going through those feelings of, like, oh, so, like, it doesn't matter? But it does, but, like, it matters less than it meant, because it mattered the most to me, and now it matters less in the grand scheme of things. I like how this has kind of brought it back to where it's Wax, it's Wayne, it's Elendil, it's the little things within this world, and it's, a direct descendant from Mistborn Era 1, but there's still the extra stuff with, like, Sazed kind of being, overlooking everything, but can't get too involved, and then Marsh is there too. I love that Marsh is still alive, and that he's kind of also, kind of yin and yang thing with Sazed, and still kind of involved. I love that Sazed still has, a friend from his old life, and the fact that, you know, Hero of Ages, if I remember correctly, it's either Hero of Ages or Well of Ascension, whichever one. It's Sazed and Marsh together traveling. I like that it's still Sazed and Marsh, kind of cool. God, yeah, I love this. I thought this was great. I am so excited for where this is going. And, you know, already picked it up. Can't wait to get into this. I'm for sure starting this today. And I'm just devouring these books. Holy shit. I mean, these are amazing. So, yeah, that's the stream of consciousness, thoughts, whatever emotions I have left over coming from The Alloy of Law. Currently, one of my favorite books I have ever read in anything. I loved Mistborn Era 1. And I see them all as one book because I, you know, experienced them all together. But this just feels so familiar, but also different. I'm just loving it. I'm having a blast with this. And you know what? If you're watching this video right now, and I don't know if it's over here or over here, one of the two, if that red bubble is glowing, I am going to go live. I'm going to go live right now and just see who pops up, because this was so much fun. Anyway, we're on to Shadows of Self. I'm going live right now. If you are around, come hang out with me and help me through some of these emotions. Anyway, Shadows of Self, here we come.